You are mine, all of you.
I was here like 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember anything.
Was it a good night out? Or?
No, just because I came for just the weekend for this con from New York, which is 21 hours. I don't remember anything. Pretty scary, huh? 150,000 people were at San Diego Comic-Con. San Diego's the first one in the States, and it's the oldest one. The first time I went to it was like 15 years ago or something, and it was just, you know, this gathering of geeks.
Yeah.
That's not really indicative of the States.
No.
That's more like a zoo.
I know, it is. You've got these scantily clad women walking around in these tight things, promoting all this stuff.
What
and
is
like,
it with the hypersexualization with all the animation fans? The women are all in these skin-tight leotards.
Yeah.
And the dominatrix outfits and
I know,
stuff.
the leather, the lycra.
It's adolescent fantasy to me is what
It is.
Yeah, but that's half the fun, I guess. It's another planet.
So, Batman.
Yes. What can I do for you?
I got that. Okay.
I met Andrea Romano and Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, who were all, you know, kids at the time. Everybody was really just starting out. And I said, well, the only exposure I've had to Batman is the Adam West series from the 70s. And Bruce Timm jumped up and said, no, that's not it. That's not it at all. He said, no, this is really serious drama. This is, and he described to me the Dark Knight anthology and legend. Losing both of his parents as a child, avenging their deaths, having that childhood trauma take over his life, dual identity, living in the caves and everything. I said, well, this is a classic, tragic story you're describing. You're basically describing Hamlet. So I went in really with very much a clean slate. I really just used my actor's imagination from theater. I was a New York theater actor. To kind of get myself into a place where I felt like it got very intimate and dark, and you know, that pain, that the voice came from the pain, the childhood pain. That dark place, that voice, that intimacy, that pain, that's his true identity. And the Bruce Wayne identity, the face he presents to the world, the sophisticated bachelor, the cosmopolitan investor, the wealthiest man in Gotham City, that's the performance.
Yeah.
So that was a decision I made early on. In the theater, the reason actors love theater so much is because in the theater, you are in charge. The actor is in charge. The actor is the one on stage, the final voice between the playwright and the audience. It's an actor's medium.
Yeah.
And if you're a bad actor, it shows in a minute. And if you're a good actor, it shows in a minute. Justice League Doom is just coming out now, which is Batman, you know, the whole Justice League, but Batman figures out a way to, he has like a default plan in case any of these superheroes goes rogue, and he keeps it locked up in his computer, a way to neutralize any one of the Justice League in the event of one of them going rogue, and someone breaks into his computer and gets the program, the program. So then he has to save the world from his own monster that he's created in a way. I think the Christopher Nolan films have been the most faithful to the Dark Knight series and to the original storylines. They've been just beautiful.
Yeah.
And Christian Bale's performance has been just really dead on. But no, I established kind of a relationship with the character early on, and I found a lot of people ask me, you know, how have you changed or how have you evolved the character over time? And my answer is usually that the challenge for me as an actor is to maintain the integrity of the character over time, not let it get stale. That's the whole point of acting, is to make each moment seem like it's the first time it happens.
Yeah.
So for Batman, I've been trying to do that, keep it fresh. Well, the Joker. I mean, let's face it, he's kind of yin to my yang, you know what I mean? The two of them, they kind of need each other to survive, you know what I mean?
That's
he
true.
defines me and I define him. So that's really, the Joker's the character.
Yeah.
But that being said, I love Two-Face is great.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero, the movie with Mr. Freeze, was beautiful.
That was
It was
very
a
cool.
beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful movie. So I kind of fell for Mr. Freeze at that point, doing that one.
I remember
He's a
he-
great villain. Well,
Yeah.
he, as a villain, has a background very much like Batman's
Yeah,
background.
that's right.
The loss, the broken heart,
Yeah.
the avenging a loss. But he went to the dark side, and Batman went to the light. We have a great sculpture in New York that is a wrought iron sculpture made by an artist in San Francisco. And what it is it's a big flat panel, weighs a ton, and up from the panel is a background of Gotham City, all with cutout windows as a metal frieze. And in the back of that is neon lights, all neon, different colored lights. So when it's lit, Gotham City lights up from behind through all these windows.
Wow.
And in the front is a pendulum of Batman that swings across the Gotham skyline. And what he's swinging for is Mr. Freeze, who's on the other side of this thing, with his ray gun, which lights up in green. And out of the ray gun comes a big wrought iron whoosh that goes against the skyline.
Wow.
It's so beautiful. I only mention it because it's a sculpture of Batman and Mr. Freeze. New York, I love New York, as all New Yorkers do. We have this great affection for our city, but it's my hometown. And the attack was it was devastating. Mm-hmm. And you all saw pictures of everyone fleeing from downtown as the towers were coming down, everyone covered in ash. But what no one took pictures of was everyone running back. As soon as the clouds got cleared, there were hundreds of people running downtown to help. They had so many volunteers, they had too many. So they set up a volunteer coordinating place at the convention center. And I went over and they said, look, we have all the tunnelers we need, we have all the diggers we need, we're getting relief workers from all over the country coming in, we really don't need you right now. And I felt just awful. And then I ran into a guy who gave me an 800 number. He said, call this number, it's a central number. So I called this number, and there were the sounds of all these pots in the background. It's like calling a kitchen. And it was the kitchen at Ground Zero. It was the dining hall that they had set up. They'd taken over a large restaurant that was about 2 blocks away. And they'd commandeered this place, because, face it, every place closed down then anyway, you know. And it was the Ground Zero kitchen. And I said, what can I do? Do you need help? She said, well, what we really need are kitchen workers. Do you have any kitchen experience? I said, I'm an actor. Of course I have kitchen experience. I have any kind of restaurant experience you need. He said, well, can you cook? I said, yeah, I've worked as a cook. He said, are you free now? I said, you mean like now? He said, yeah, like tonight. He said, can you do the night shift? I said, absolutely, I'll be there in half an hour. So I went down and I did it was from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. for like a couple of weeks, right after the attack. And it was the night shift, and as you can imagine, downtown had that kind of sulfurous smell. It was a horrible smell. And everyone was really just dripping with sweat in this kitchen. And we were feeding hundreds and hundreds of people in shifts around the clock. We would go out on the street, and there was just this feeling of disbelief everywhere. There were a lot of volunteers. There were just legions of firemen and EMS workers and policemen. No one was really interacting a lot because there was just a lot of, everyone was in just disbelief and just going through the motions of what they could do. And so in the middle of cooking one night, this guy next door to me, one of the other workers, the volunteer, says, so my day job is I'm an architect. He says, what's your day job? And I said, well, I'm an actor. He said, yeah, but do you do some special kind of acting? I said, well, I mostly do voices. He said, I knew it. He said, I knew your name. You're the guy who does Batman. And I said, how did you know that? He said, oh, everybody knows who does Batman. I said, no, believe me, everyone does not know who does Batman. He said, well, I'm kind of a geek. I'm really into animation. He said, this is so cool. Batman is working at Ground Zero. He said, this is so cool. He said, can I tell the guys? And I said, oh, no one's going to care. He said, are you kidding? So he goes out in the dining hall. It's packed with this, all these workers who got dust all over them stuff. He goes, guys, you're not going to believe who's been cooking your dinners all week. It's Batman. And there's a long pause and you hear, bullshit, from the back of the audience. And then someone says, make him prove it. So I thought, oh, this is good. So I'm in the kitchen, I go, I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman. And there's this long pause. And from the back of the dining hall you hear, holy fuck, that is Batman. And the place just erupted. Yeah. And people started coming back into the kitchen and go, oh, remember that episode when the Joker and you and that? I watched that with my kid, and that one's my favorite. And there was all this animation all of a sudden was going on, all this laughter. All of a sudden we heard laughter. And the architect who had recognized me initially said, what's it feel like to be Santa Claus? He said, because Santa Claus just came here. So I emailed my producers at Warner Brothers that night in LA. I described to them what had happened. And I said, what we do is not insignificant. Because in moments of great tragedy like that, you feel like what you do is insignificant, you know? Everyone does. It's like,
you're useless.
You're useless.
Yeah.
And suddenly you realize, God, just doing this voice was exactly what those guys needed at that moment. They needed to just forget about the world. You know? So that's my Ground Zero story.
Wow.
That's an amazing story.
Isn't that a good story?
That's a great story.
Holy fuck, it is Batman.